So it's been a bit now, and I'm kind of behind on making a video on this, but Capcom revealed its Season 2 for Street Fighter 6. And if you missed it, it's another 4-character pass consisting of M. Bison, Elena, Terry Bogard, and Mai Shiranui. And honestly, I can't lie, I'm a bit disappointed. Yeah, I know, I just made a video with a bunch of Street Fighter characters that I obviously want to come back, and none of my requests made it in, but it's a bit more than that, honestly. I am fairly disappointed by there being 2 guest characters already. We're a little too early into the game's lifespan for guests, in my opinion, at least. Street Fighter 6 is still really young in the grand scheme of things, and as a result, there's still a ton of fan favorites that have yet to make it in yet. Similarly, I remember saying the same thing with Street Fighter 5, since year 2 for that game was entirely newcomers. I guess my guest character fatigue comes from Mortal Kombat primarily, though. Losing genuine characters in exchange for a cheap pop like that, I won't lie, probably does make a lot of money for a given company, though. But I will say this, at least Terry and Mai are fighting game characters, not some horror icon or comic book character. But this inclusion did get me to thinking a little bit. Beyond SNK, who else could Capcom bring in as a guest to Street Fighter 6? So I figured I'd make a little video where I speculate wildly on the topic, of course. Now I think the most obvious crossover to start with, considering history, would be Tekken, of course. For those unaware, Street Fighter already crossed over with Tekken a long time ago in the game that happened to be named Street Fighter Cross Tekken, with Akuma being in Tekken 7 too, of course. There was also supposed to be a Bamco-developed Tekken Cross Street Fighter, but that fell through after Street Fighter Cross Tekken didn't exactly do great. I assume Capcom will probably keep to 1 male, 1 female like with SNK, so I think the most likely Tekken options are probably either Jin Zhao-Yu or Kazuya Nina. Me personally, I'd pick King. I don't give a fuck who the other person is, I just want King in this game. Lily Asuka might be another good duo pick as well, but I'm more confident in the Jin Zhao-Yu pick personally. It's an iconic enough duo, for sure. A more interesting one to theorize on, and one that I think is also a bit of a no-brainer in truth, would be the characters from Arika's EX Fighting Lair, considering that all of them were from the Street Fighter EX series after all. I think Skullomania makes it in free if the EX people are brought back at all. Skullomania is far and away the most popular character from that franchise for sure. I love him too, so I would definitely support his inclusion in Street Fighter 6, and since G had a Skullomania outfit in Street Fighter 5, well, I think he's a shoo-in. As for number 2, though, I think that's a bit harder. I myself would pick Doctrine Dark. I think he is incredibly unique and super cool looking. But if the second had to go to a lady, it'd probably end up being Blair Dame or Hakuto. I'd prefer Blair since she's cool as fuck and has a hard-ass grappler moveset of MMA and other crazy stuff. Though I think Garuda and Kari are pretty likely picks as well. So just bring them all in. Honestly, fuck it, who cares? We're just bringing in guests already after all. I assume Capcom will probably look within more crossover characters, considering that Final Fight and Rival Schools characters are already in Street Fighter. As for new Final Fight guests, I guess the only character they could bring back now at this point would be Maki. And maybe this is the game where Hagar finally makes his Street Fighter debut, but I'm kind of more of the mind that Zangief is for Street Fighter and Mike Hagar is for like crossover titles like Marvel vs. Capcom from now on. But we'll see. And so Darkstalkers, since that shit's dead, Morgan makes it in for free. She's honestly just a crossover character at this point anyway. As for Slot 2, well, I think of all the characters from Darkstalkers that'd be appropriate, John Talbane would be the best choice. Already being a martial artist, and, well, he's just cool as shit. Let's be honest. Werewolf martial artist, nunchucks, cool as hell. Thinking more logically, maybe Dimitri would get selected as another Darkstalkers guest, but I imagine staying true to Midnight Bliss would be a bit of a pain, having to make female models for all the dudes. Otherwise, Felicia. Rival Schools would probably bring in Batsu and have Akira come back again. I'm not really sure who else they'd select, honestly. Daigo instead of Akira? I'd like Natsu, honestly. Maybe a Kyosuke, since he was in CVS too? I'm not sure, really. Red Earth. I mean, maybe it'd probably be Tessa and like Hauser. I mean, why not? Honestly, a T-Rex in Street Fighter, fuck it. Let's just go crazy at this point. You learn moves from a T-Rex in World Tour. Fuck it. More logically, it would probably be Tessa, Mai Ling. I think Kenji and Leo are weapon-based, and it's a probably provides them with too much of an advantage versus just, you know, normal stuff. I say that while Lily's in the game, but I don't know, Lily's clubs don't give her that much of an advantage, am I right? I'm running on fumes right now, so let me get to the real point of this vid, what I mean by the forbidden door. Could this finally lead to the crossover we've all dreamed of, or rather just me, since Reddit is incredibly hostile to this possibility? Mortal Kombat x Street Fighter? Well, no, probably, but a man can dream the biggest dreams after all. I want that crossover not only because I've been dreaming of it since I was but a little hatchling, but I'm also just very curious as to how Capcom would interpret a Mortal Kombat character in their game. If you're not a fighting game person, you might not understand it, but mechanically MK and SF are worlds apart. MK has all these dial-ins for its combos and insta-stun moves like Ice Ball and Spear, so I'm very curious as to how a Japanese dev would interact with such a move. Plus, well, imagine a Mortal Kombat character with real animation from Capcom. It'd be really interesting to see. I'm assuming if they're gonna pick a guest character off the bat from Mortal Kombat, it'll probably be Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I would argue those two are probably Mortal Kombat's most iconic characters. If it's not Sub and Scorp, I think Raiden and Johnny Cage would also be appropriate picks too. If they want a male and a female, I think Kitana would probably be the best pick for a female character, or Melina. Melina is super popular, honestly. I mean, I love her. Who doesn't, you know? But I imagine whoever Capcom would pick is based on whatever characters Japan is interested in. I remember Harada making a tweet. I know this is Tekken and not Street Fighter. You know, Harada said if he was ever to bring in an MK character into Tekken, it would be Sub-Zero and Raiden, so it'd probably be those two, most likely. But otherwise, I don't even know. Does Japan have a Mortal Kombat fan base at all? Like, I don't think they do. But anyway, this is just kind of a short, rambly video. I think it's an interesting topic to speculate on what guest characters might make it into Street Fighter 6 now that they're, you know, bringing in guest characters. And Guilty Gear is doing guest characters too now, honestly, so the world's just going kind of crazy. But anyway, as always, dearest viewers, my name is HadesManticore, and this here channel, CityStateManticore. Thanks for watching this random, nonsensical commentary that I decided to make for some reason. Feel free to drop a like and leave a comment on whoever you would like to be a guest character in Street Fighter. Be sure to subscribe too, since as always, there's more content to come. And I'll see you all in the next video. Hopefully a lot more structured than this one. Goodbye.